Hello friends, Black Pretzel here! That's right, Mr. Feature is no more, all hail the new me. Anyway, it's safe to say that March is being one of the best months so far for superhero fans. We got WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, the new amazing series in full, and of course the long anticipated Zack Snyder's Justice League. Boy, what a ride. I'm sure most of you know the incredible and unique story of making this version of Justice League, which is in my opinion by far superior version to the theatrical one, so I won't bore you to death with those details. What I think is more interesting to talk about is that from the day it was announced that Snyder Cut is happening, both Warner Brothers and Zack himself confirmed numerous times that this is the last project they will do together, at least in terms of DC Comics. No place is being foreseen for Snyder in the future of DC movies, and it seems that after all the shitstorm that Warner Brothers had to go through, they really do mean their intentions this time around. But hey, how many times have we heard this before? Anyway, I am quite skeptical about this decision, to be honest. I guess it's not surprising. Well, there are a lot of reasons, and I will cover some of those reasons in just a moment, but the most important thing that I want to say straight away is that I think there is a very big sign of hope, and that hope comes from the incredible success that Snyder Cut has had thus far. I believe Warner Brothers could be once again overpowered by the internet and the fans into bringing the Snyderverse back to life, as it is being called right now. After all, his version of Justice League sets up a lot of interesting plotlines, especially in terms of Injustice Nightmare future, so it would be such a tremendous waste not to expand this storyline further. In light of all this, I would like to talk about 3 ways that Warner Brothers, or Warner Media, whichever you prefer, could make Snyderverse actually happen. Without further ado, let's delve in. DC Comics are known to have their true strength on the small screen, especially in the form of animated features. The greatest animated stuff comes from DC, in the likes of Batman Returns, The Killing Joke, Under the Red Hood, and more that is not just Batman stuff, okay? Animated features are insanely cheap to make, well at least in comparison to movies, yet can be extremely captivating and entertaining. So why not put Snyder's vision into cartoons? This would literally cost minimal effort and money to the studio, but instead will bring millions of audiences to HBO Max. Plus, if this was to be a weekly release series, this would result in a lot of long-term hype, discussions and expectations, which is exactly the success that DC is looking for, and the one that Marvel currently has. Sure, of course, a lot of fans still will be disappointed in not seeing Snyder's vision on the big screen and live action, and especially Zack himself above all, but surely having this is better than having nothing. And for those wondering if animations could bond well with Zack's dark vision of Justice League, there are multiple animations that prove that this could be indeed the case. I mean, just check out the most recent Invincible show running on Amazon Prime right now. It has nothing but gore, violence, profanity whilst preserving a serious and realistic tone. Honestly, with enough creativity and passion, this can easily be done, I think. And in fact, maybe if such animated TV show would have run for several seasons with high audience numbers, that could serve itself as a case study and a precedent for Warner Brothers to think about it and give Zack Snyder another chance with the live-action big screen stuff. I don't know about you guys, but I totally see this happening. Of course, it would probably be too expensive to bring the original cast to do the voices, but there are so many other great voice actors that I don't think this is a problem at all. So overall, this is a cheap, least effort required option that could result in one of the greatest animated TV shows to date. In fact, I would be very surprised if Warner Brothers are not considering this option right this second. Now, this one is probably something that will not happen in 1,000 of years, but hey, I didn't tell you I will talk about realistic options, I just said options, yeah? In any case, since Warner Brothers and Zack Snyder have their own individual views on the future of the DC universe, why not have 2 parallel worlds where each gets to realize their own vision? I don't think this would be so hard to do. Let's take a look at the Warner Brothers plan for the future, for example. It involves the following: no Ben Affleck as Batman, no Henry Cavill as Superman, Shazam, Aquaman and Wonder Woman as the new faces of the DCEU, as these have been the most successful both critically and financially movies thus far. Brighter, more light-hearted tone, more standalone movies, thus upcoming Black Adam, Shazam 2, Wonder Woman 3, Aquaman 2, but no news on the next Justice League. And guess what else do all of these things have in common? They are all not part of the Snyderverse. If you have seen Zack's Justice League, then you know that the main plot he is setting up his universe for is Injustice. In the last 15 minutes of the movie, we get a glimpse at the dark future of this universe, where Ben Affleck as Batman and Henry Cavill as Superman, as the faces of the DCEU, are the main conflict of the whole narrative. Shazam is nowhere to be seen. Aquaman and Wonder Woman are dead. More dark, gritty and depressing tone, mashing many superheroes and villains together. Why should Warner Brothers not have both? Seriously, just give me one reason. I'm not saying they should create two equally big universes, as of course that might create confusions for audiences, but why not use Flashpoint, an upcoming Flash movie, as a setup to explain how these two separate worlds now coexist, and have one as the main one for Warner Brothers to go on with, and the other one being Snyderverse, which will have, I don't know, 1 or 2 more movies to follow up. We know Flash has done this many times using time travel, creating other different parallel worlds, so I see absolutely no problem in doing something like this narratively. This way you will not only satisfy almost any DC fan, but you will double your profits, since there will be each DC story to their own liking. And since you will have different characters taking the lead in each of these universes, people should have easy time following this. I guarantee that each of these stories, if done right of course, would be highly successful. And also, just imagine if they do a crossover between these two, how awesome would that be? Oh! But I really don't think this will happen. I mean, it could, and don't get me wrong, I really hope it would, and definitely more so than having Cartoon Justice League, but as mentioned before, this will be logistically challenging. Not only it would cost a lot of money for Warner Brothers, but even though it might be easy to follow characters in these universes individually, overall it might be very hard to distinguish between the two worlds. But then again, X-Men never really followed a single world rule and created multiple versions of the same characters, and look how good their movies turned out. Well, at least some of them. Besides, DC does have some personal issues with Zack Snyder as well. I just don't see them giving him a full creative freedom once again. I mean, safe to say, I am extremely scared of being disappointed, and I don't know, because of this, maybe some doors are better left unopened. I know, both Warner Brothers and Snyder repeatedly said that they are not going to work together and that the Snyderverse is essentially dead. But guess what? They said the same thing about the Snyder Cut, and look where we've made it. I mean, if we should trust this report right here, Snyder Cut increased HBO Max subscriber count by a whopping 10%, and that's just one movie. Yes, it's a Justice League movie, but just imagine what a sequel to this cut would do, especially if they release it in theaters as well. Don't forget the studios are interested in money alone, and this is both good and bad news for us. Bad because none of Snyder's films made over $1 billion, at least not DCU stuff, but other movies like Wonder Woman and Aquaman did much better without his involvement. At least on paper that reads as Snyder equals less money. But since right now Warner Brothers managed to build this insane hype with Snyder Cut, with the fan base being at its peak in terms of size and engagement, I don't see why they should not change their mind and go ahead with a couple more films for Snyder. What have they got to lose? I think it's actually more risky for them to not go ahead with Snyderverse, as so many fans will be left upset and angry with the departure of Snyder from DC. But then again, if they actually do go ahead with Snyderverse, that means they have to change course again. For like, what, third, fourth time now? This might be humiliating to them. Besides, if this happens, fans will become impossible to please. So with all the things considered above, while I do think that this very well could happen, it's extremely unlikely. Question is though, do you guys have any other ways in mind in which Snyderverse could live on? Do you think any options that I mentioned could be viable? Or did I just present a number of unimaginable bullshit? I personally would give a lot to see Snyder do more DC stuff, especially after the cool things he described he would do, but I think it's more likely that his movies will never touch DC characters again. But who knows, maybe miracles do actually happen. If you enjoyed this video guys, please do hit the like button below and subscribe to my channel, as that way I can tell if you want to see more stuff like this. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.